Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Coming to you again. This is the Christmas evening edition. Lot going on this week. These Qadianis have admitted to they love the persecution. They want the persecution. And that's exactly what my theory has been on them. I've been saying this. They want to be persecuted. They're looking for trouble. They're looking to annoy somebody. They're looking to start a fight. And then they cry persecution. So I'm gonna just jump right into it here. A mind roaster Mir is the first guy here. So, so he called me. This guy gets my phone number from Keekee. Keekee is giving out my phone number to these nerds, and he says, "Hey, let's have a discussion." I'm like, "Okay, who are you?" So he says who he is, and I'm like, oh, "Okay, what's your question? Well, what do you need clarification on?" He goes, "No, I want you to come on a live stream." I'm like, "But okay, but what's the issue? What's the question? Can I solve it? Can I solve your question without doing a live stream? Like, what is it that you don't understand about whatever?" And I say, "Okay, come on my channel." He goes, "No." I'm like, "Well, then look." He goes, "No, just come on my show and you say what you got to say, and I say what I want to say, and let's let the viewers decide." Well, I don't do that. I don't play these games for converts. See, these guys are so desperate to get converts, they'll do anything. And persecution is an angle. It's nothing more than an angle, you know. And you can tell that the type of Ahmadis, the weirdos like Osama, he's a weirdo. Ruszy is the 40-year-old virgin, and this guy he used to say he say when he was like a younger Haddam, girls used to think he was gay or something like that. So, anyways, Mind Roaster Mir comes on. He's this weird guy who immigrated from Pakistan, and he just hates Sunni Muslims. He hates Pakistan. They cry when we call them Qadianis, but what do they call Deobandis? Isn't that a slur? That's the city they're from. What about Barelvis? What about Batalvi? They keep saying, "Oh, what's the Batalvi?" Well, that's Sayyid Muhammad Hassan of Batala, who's called as Batalvi. All right, so the contradictions just keep going and going and going, man. They never end. They never end. So, all right, let me go back to my notes here. See what else we're here to talk about. Um, Oh, and then all he says is, all this guy says is, um, he's crying about Pakistan, Hatem and Nabuwat. Why are these guys hung up on Hatem and Nabuwat? It's our belief. What do you mean? Why are we hung up on it? This is a fundamental belief. No new prophets will be born. Sorry, I have to explain that to you. And these guys just didn't know. So mine Roaster Mir, and he is long-winded. He goes a long time. It's hard to listen, right? So okay. He says that we lie about Ahmadiyya beliefs. He says we don't even know the beliefs on Hatem and Nabuwwat. Come on, man. It's pretty easy. Chapter 33, verse 40. And then there's like 50 hadiths. So what is so hard to understand? We don't know. And then he says, "Oh, we're just doing this to make money. It's all about money." What about your Khalifa? What about the Mirza family? Why do you overlook them? Why do you overlook the Panama Papers? Why do you overlook all of these things, right? So it's a double standard. Then he says that we're hiding stuff. I mean, this Mind Roaster Mir guy, or his name is Saleem Mir, another sick, twisted person, man. That's all it is. Sick and twisted. Damon, Keekee, Ruszy, Osama, all these guys, sick and twisted human beings. That's all it is, man. Oh, and yeah. So he kept deflecting. He kept saying, "Well, you look at the Deobandis, look at the Barelvis, look at what they believe about each other. They accuse each other of this and that, and none of it's true. And yet that we're similarly, they're accusing us." Well, you guys admit that Mirza Ghulam Ahmad claimed to be a prophet. You guys are accusing the Deobandis and the Barelvis and the Shias of having controversial writings, but your guy actually claimed to be a prophet. So what the heck, man? You know, it's all nonsense. We're dealing with a bunch of idiots here. They keep referring to ex-Ahmadis as Murtadeen, which is so disrespectful. Um, yeah, and there's two kirats for chapter 33, verse 40, where everybody knows Hatim and Hatim. Hatim directly means last, you know. So and even the context of that verse and that chapter is that Muhammad's not the father of any of your men. You know, that's saying the bloodline is ended. There will not be another prophet born ever again, because Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam doesn't have any kids who grew to full age that are male. I think the only one that was alive by then was Fatima, right? So this is not even something that's hard. It's easy to understand all of this, but you know they're gonna kill their family to defend Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. So no surprises there. Oh, and then he doesn't understand. Most Ahmadis don't understand Ahmadiyya. 99% of Ahmadis don't know what Ahmadiyya is, right? Oh, and then Keekee said he mentions me, right? He says, "Oh, my brother said he stopped believing in religion after he realized that Mirza Ghulam Ahmad lied about his prophethood." Absolutely, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad lied about his prophethood for 20 years. I was sickened. Who would lie for 20 years? Well, Keekee lies for 20 years. All these guys do it. They're all lying. So to a Qadiani, it's nothing. It's nothing to lie for 20 years. Oh, so remember, this is what it's all about. They want the persecution. They want to go start a fight. They want to be a victim. They're doing the persecution is generated. Zia was their friend. Zia was their buddy. They asked Zia to pass Ordinance 20. They asked him. They wanted it. The Mirza family wanted it. You think they care if a few Qadianis die? They don't care. So they wanted it. They got it passed, and that's how they got out of Pakistan. All right. Character assassination. That's what you guys do to us. And then he says he hasn't watched all of our work. Okay, then look, mine Roaster Mir says, oh, they have dirty language. What about Mr. Ghulam? He wrote Lana 1,000 times. He called people Kutiyan. He said there's 1,000 Husseins in my pocket. He said the worst things. He denied the miraculous birth of Isa al-Islam. So what are you guys talking about, right? So it's like we're talking to a bunch of robots who are just going to say whatever they want to say, and that's it. Oh, then he says, look, he says these guys believe that if someone insults the prophet, they should be killed. No one believes that. What are you talking about? No one can take the law into their own hands. If you're living in a country that has the death penalty for whatever reason, you know, in America, you could rape someone and not get the death penalty. And how is that possible? So every country is different. In Pakistan, if you disrespect it's not that easy. You got to go to court. You know what I mean? And it has to be proven, right? But he's like, so he uses that as a parallel, and he was like, how do you think we feel when you disrespect Mirza Ghulam Ahmad? You know, basically, he's saying he wants us dead. That's true. Ahmadis hate us so much they want us dead when they hear us say anything about Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. I know because I was working for Keekee and I asked him about the split and he exploded. He could not handle it. He's a weasel. He can't fight. You know what I mean? So like these weird little nerd little robots who don't throw hands, they just get mad on the inside and they have to bottle it up. You know what I mean? And I'm not that guy. Like that's why I'm always nice and calm, because I don't get excited over people's insults. It doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't boil my blood or anything like that. So all right. He goes off on a tangent with that too. And then he says, oh, we're just here for the money. It's all about money. And then like, so these Qadianis don't understand. They're disrespecting the messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam every time they talk about Mirza Ghulam Ahmad's prophethood. Every time they say Mirza Ghulam Ahmad is Isa, they are disrespecting 1.5 billion Muslims. That's absolute disrespect. You're disrespecting our entire religion, right? So, but they don't care. They're looking to start a fight. Oh, and Keekee, I was never a Muslim. I've only been a Muslim 3 years. I was not born a Muslim because Qadianis are far from it. You know, Qadianis don't believe in Allah. Qadianis believe in the Khalifa, and that's your God. And if you don't know that, then you're a bigger fool than I could imagine. All right. Oh, and then he said the word. So now they keep saying ilzami jawab. Ilzami jawab means literally allegations answer. An answer to allegations, right? Everything is an ilzami jawab. They came up with this. No, he meant it in this way. We're not buying it, is what we keep telling you, nerds. And you guys don't understand. We are saying your argument is a false argument. It makes no sense. Not just us, the majority of people you've come across say this about you, right? But will you listen? No, they're not going to listen. They're going to keep saying the same old thing. Okay, and then he keeps saying, well, we believe so if someone leaves Islam, they're wajibul qatl. No, it's up to the government. In fact, in the Mughal Empire was Hanafi, and you can look this up. They didn't believe that. They said unless he joins like a rival military and fights against us, that's the only way. So these guys don't know about the four fiqhs and four schools of thought and etc. And then he says there was no boycotting and persecution. What about Fakhruddin Multani? Didn't Ahmadis kill him in broad daylight in Qadian after Jummah? See, he forgot. Oh no, he doesn't know. He doesn't know. These guys don't know anything. Honestly, that's the entire story. Oh, then he says the world has acknowledged Ahmadiyya. He doesn't know Ahmadiyya is dying in the world. It's not spreading at all. There's no growth. It's all a lie. It's in Africa. I'm doing the expose on Africa right now. I'm up to the Gambia. There's like 500 Qadianis in the Gambia, barely. Yeah, there's nowhere in the Quran that says Isa has died. We believe he will eventually die, but yeah, I agree. But tell that to a Qadiani with a motive, and then so Damon Stengel says today, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad was the first. Like he's got that accent, right? Mirza Ghulam Ahmad was the first to say Isa died, and that's wrong. That's wrong. Sir Sayyid and the Aligarh movement. I just posted an essay from Maulvi Chirag Ali, who was saying that he was on the cross, and this is 1876. And Mirza Ghulam Ahmad was reading all of this stuff. So Damon won't admit to it, but who cares? He's a janitor from Canada, so no one really cares. Let's see what else. Psychological persecution. Oh, and then Keekee says, oh, we can't text anymore. Assalamu alaikum. Well, you are the ones that created Ordinance 20. Go cry to your Khalifa and say, why'd you throw these Qadianis under the bus? Now they got to live like this. Go tell your Khalifa. He's the one that did it. So stop crying, man. Quit your crying. Oh, and then look, in 1947, you guys moved to Pakistan. The Khalifa could have fled to Delhi. He did not have to go to Pakistan. He could have bounced to Delhi, and he was good, and came back to Qadian 6 months later, a year later. He didn't do it. He came to Pakistan. So why? Why? Because you had Zafar Lahan. You had the British government. The British government told you, we'll give you a piece of land. Don't worry about it. That's why you came to Pakistan and started all this trouble, right? And then Saleem Mir, he just straight up calls us if we had a debate, yeah, I'd love to just have a discussion with the guy. Like, you know what I mean? Forget a debate. You know, first we'll just have a discussion. You know, like, what are your questions? You know what I mean? Like, what irks you about Islam that you just cannot understand? I can explain it to you, you know, in a respectful way. But they're not up for it. They want to do marketing, right? Okay, so where was I? Oh, so Saleem Mir, he basically considers all Muslims as terrorists. That's 1.6 billion. He hates Muslims. He hates Pakistanis. He says that Pakistan is a bad country. What about America? I don't know where you live at in Germany. America, where I live, there's homelessness. In the LA area is the biggest homeless encampment in the world. Every crime, every vice is where we are in California. So stop throwing Pakistan under the bus. But he can't help it. See what else he said. Oh, then he says, give money like Abu Bakr and Umar. That was during a war. See what I mean? It was a war. That wasn't during peace. That wasn't, now you just pay your taxes. If you're living in Pakistan, in Pakistan, there isn't a lot of tax that's collected in the first place. So he doesn't understand that. You know what I mean? And how could he? He doesn't have a brain. He doesn't think. Oh, so okay. They said they always blame the messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They said he made mistakes. What mistakes did he make? Show the hadith. Damon, I know you're watching. Look it up. What mistakes did Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam make during salah? It wasn't on Fatiha. It wasn't the alif and the ayin mistake that your Khalifa makes. Your Khalifa forgets Rabbil Alameen is an ayin, right? The Lord of all the worlds. If it's Rabbil Alameen, it's the Lord of all blank, because that's not even a word, right? It doesn't even fit. So your salat is haram because you called God the Lord of all the blank. So that's the implication. But these idiots don't listen. That they don't care. Razi? Come on, man. Right? So we're still waiting for that hadith to see what mistake the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made. It was probably on a hard ayah. He must have forgot, right? I'm still waiting to see it. Then he says we are like the ones who denied Isa. He calls us liars over and over again. Said he got my number from Huram. And then he says, where does it say no prophets are to be born? He says, then he admits to it. No. They believe no prophets can be born. No new prophets can be born. Where does it say that? Oh, it says that in chapter 33, verse 40. Muhammad is not the father of any of your men. Period. That means no one else can be born because Muhammad is holding the DNA of the prophets and he died with it. But idiots won't listen, so don't listen. Then he brings up the 73 sects. Oh, and he doesn't know. He doesn't know. In 1902, the Review of Religion said the Queen of England is the Khalifa. He hasn't reviewed that literature yet. So all right. Yeah, and he's just rude, man. He hates Muslims. We can tell. And then he says, but before everyone's birth, these were all answered. No, they weren't. They were deflected. Then he says no one can stop Ahmadiyya, and except we're spreading in the world, and yada yada yada. He doesn't understand. How many people converted to Ahmadiyya in Germany last year? From Germany, barely like 100, and that's a lie. It's probably like 5, probably like 10. In America, they said it was 100. That's a lie. That's a lie. Probably like 7, and even from those 7, 6 will leave because they'll figure out it's all garbage. Oh, and then Saleem Mir says Mirza Ghulam Ahmad stood up in 1879 like, I'm going to defend Islam. He shouldn't have had. He embarrassed Islam. And he said something in that book, in Brahini Ahmadiyya 1, which you nerds need to respond to. He said prophets don't have teachers. He said that in Brahini Ahmadiyya 1. Zishan from Smile to Jannah said it too. He posted it. You guys didn't respond to it yet. And Osama, I'm coming for you. I got TikTok coming too, little boy. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, they cry about Mirza Ghulam Ahmad being Qadiani, but they call Muhammad Hassan Batalawi. Oh, and then he says, how could we be friends with the British, the Christians, when we killed their God? Like, no, you don't understand. Muslims won't convert to Christianity. They know this. In West Africa, in the Mughal Empire, Muslims were not the majority. You might get one here or there, but no, not gonna happen. I think Abdullah Atham was a Muslim, but not really happening. It might be a few cases, right? Uh, so this is their approach now. They told Sir Sayed to start saying Isa died, he's never coming back. Start saying no Mahdi, kill that concept. And then Mirza Ghulam Ahmad just pretty much stole it. Okay, let's see what else. And then he says no one could do what MGA did. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's just out of control. Oh, and I got like 2 more pages of notes. So yeah, he calls us all terrorists. He calls us all atheists. He disrespects Isa. This idiot calls Isa Yasu. Why? Why? There's a Muslim has no reason to call Isa al-Islam anything other than Isa. Period. Period. You shouldn't be doing that stuff. But he does it because he's got the same hate. He's got the same hate for him. Oh, and then he says they don't read the books of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. Keekee didn't read the books of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. When did he start reading them? He admitted he just started reading them a few years ago. He didn't know what these books were. So come on, man. And they've never answered. Ahmadiyya is a political organization. A cursing war. That's what they want. They want a cursing war. Okay, then he goes on about his search engine for like an hour. And the reason he created the search engine and the pocketbook, they don't want Ahmadis to do their own research. That's all it is. And then he says he's talking to some guy, and he says the first thing I say is give me the definition of a gali. So they always do that. They'll always say, okay, give me what is the definition? What's your definition? Bruh, you're supposed to know all this before we start talking. Okay, let's see. Oh, and then Razi and this guy, here's what they're trying to do. They're trying to pit Muslims against each other. So like Razi will go find a guy, cut and paste and say, oh, so and so is against so and so, and let's and he's praying that they fight each other. That's what he's doing. So there's no persecution. You can just throw the persecution card right out. Just know it's fake. It's not happening. That's the only thing. That's their marketing technique. That's their marketing tool is to cry persecution. Oh, so then he says, why are our books banned? Oh man, see, he doesn't get it. A lot of people are uneducated. They don't know any better. If you flood a market with books, you could brainwash the community because these are the only books available. You'll get converts on accident. So this is a strategy: is to flood the market. Same thing with Wikipedia pages that these Qadianis have made that have false information on them. They're looking to control the information and lie about the information. And then they say they're benefiting. They're like, thank you for saying all this. Thank you for bringing it all up, right? But ask Keekee, how many people became Ahmadi in Bay Point in the last 10 years? How about San Jose? How about LA? And where are they now? Tell us. Tell Saleem Mir that no one's joining up. In fact, the entire young generation of young Ahmadis who were born in America have all left. They're all out of here, man. All right. And then, he's just out of control. He calls us the killers of Umar and Usman. And then Keekee says, by any means necessary, he's going to spread this Qadianate. Right, but then he says, call to Islam in a goodly manner. What are you talking about, man? Call to Islam in a goodly manner. You refuse to acknowledge that people are Muslim, right? Oh, and it's funny. Razi says you can't mock someone's recitation of the Quran, right? What has Keekee been doing? What has Damon been doing? They've been trying to mock the way other people recite the Quran. So all of your arguments collapse. They all fall on top of each other. None of them last any kind of test. Um, and then they admit to it. There's no progress without persecution. Well, that's what I'm saying. You want to be persecuted. You want to get beat up. You were at the Rubwood train station in 1974, and you started a fight. And then you called a mob of Ahmadis, and they beat up these teenagers. This is what you guys are and what you do. And I'm going to take this to the United Nations until I go in front of a meeting and I tell them who you nerds are. All right, that's the real story. Okay, and then he says, the Jesus concept. There's no chapter 4, verse 159 of the Quran proves that Isa hasn't died yet. Chapter 43, verse 61 proves that Isa hasn't died yet. Chapter 5, verse 117 proves that Isa hasn't died yet. Chapter 3, verse 55 proves that Isa hasn't died yet. Chapter 39, verse 43 proves that Isa hasn't died yet. And there's more. There's more than this. So you guys keep lying to yourself. I know it's a game. I know you nerds are playing a game. I know. We know what it is. All right. And then Razi comes in the second video and he says, oh, he brings up the hadith of crawl over ice and give him my salam. And well, that the only way that was possible was if the Mahdi and Isa alayhi salam were separate. So by him quoting that hadith those hadith imply that the Mahdi is a separate person than Isa alayhi salam. So again, he's being academically dishonest. He doesn't care because, you know, he's emotional towards this Qadianat, and then they want the free publicity and etc. etc. And then Osama says, oh, we're so blessed to have Khilafat. Oh, because you can kiss his hand? Osama, I bet you kiss his hand, his arms, his shoulders, his legs. I bet you kiss all on that dude. I believe it. I believe it. All right. So that's all for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yes, one more thing. Check out this chat. So these people are saying that they're persecuted, but look, they're publishing open challenges to 1.5 billion Muslims. So there is no persecution. It's all a lie. It's a marketing technique, and that's all. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters.